Hello everyone. So Halloween is approaching and I just love Halloween so much. The costumes, the decorations, and I just love watching horror movies. So I have 5 October recommendations. So let's get started. The first book I recommend is The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. So this is a horror mystery novel. This is about 4 people who go into an abandoned mansion. Dr. Montague, who wants to find evidence of what they call the haunting, Theodore, his assistant, Eleanor, who's just this lonely girl who's familiar with poltergeists, and Luke, who is the future heir of the Hill House. So when they first arrive, little things start happening, like the door closes by itself, or they hear spooky noises, but the longer they are there, the more powerful the house grows. So I think this is the perfect classic horror novel. It is a short novel, so it's a quick read. This book leaves so much for the imagination, so I think that's what makes it really creepy. Shirley Jackson creates such an eerie mood, and her characters have all these psychological problems, which I think makes such a great thriller. So the second book I recommend is We Have Always Lived in the Castle, another book by Shirley Jackson. So this one is about Maricat Blackwood, who lives in her family estate with her sister Constance and her uncle Julian. So her sister Constance just returned after being acquitted of the murder of her family members. They all died when arsenic ended up in the sugar bowl. And so Maricat does her best to protect Constance from the angry neighbors and her cousin, who she just doesn't trust. So this isn't really like a horror novel per se. It is more of a gothic mystery. I think this book is just so hauntingly beautiful. So I highly recommend this for people who don't like scary, gory books, but still want to get into that Halloween mood. So the third book I recommend is A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. So this is a horror mystery novel. So this is about Mary, who's being interviewed about her tragic family story that happened 15 years ago when she was 8 years old. So when her older sister was 14, she descended into madness, and they contact a local priest, and he said that she was possessed by a demon and would like to do an exorcism on her. And so her family agrees, and since her family is going through some financial difficulty, they agreed that they could film it and put it on the show The Possession. So the events that unfold have her family become stuff of urban legends. So this book isn't really scary, it's more disturbing. I like that this book is up to interpretation. Is she really possessed, or does she have some type of mental illness? So the fourth book I recommend is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrick. This is a YA horror novel. So this is about Abby and Gretchen, who've been friends since the 5th grade, but when they start going to high school, things change. So after Gretchen gets lost and spends the night in the woods, she becomes very different. She acts very strange, and so Abby thinks something is wrong, and so she becomes convinced that she is possessed. And so this is about her trying to save her best friend. So what I really like about it is that this is a coming of age horror novel. So you have like the creepiness of Gretchen's behavior, but you also have like the sweetness of Abby trying to save her best friend. So the last book I recommend is Dracula by Bram Stoker. So this book isn't probably for everyone. It is a classic horror novel that was written in the 1800s. So this is about Count Dracula, who is a vampire, and Van Helsing, who has been hunting him. So there's a lot to this story. Dracula's trying to get Lucy and Mina, so they're just trying to save them, and I really enjoyed this book. So those are all the 5 books I recommend for the month of October. So just let me know what you recommend in the comments below, and like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Bye!